Hi everyone, welcome to Data Labs. I'm your host and host Madhur. Today in this video, I will be briefly explaining the subqueries in SQL. Let's start with understanding what are the subqueries. As the name suggests, subqueries are the nested queries used inside another SQL query to perform some operation. These can be used in select, insert, delete, or update queries. Subqueries are generally used to retrieve data from multiple tables based on some complex conditions. Subqueries can be used in various places within SQL statements. These can be used to filter the data in where clause. The subqueries can be used in comparison operators, in or not in operator, exists and not exists operator, and even some more operators. Subqueries can also be used in from clause or select clause. Let's see with example. We will use department table and employee table for this tutorial. Let me firstly show you a simple way to use a subquery in the where condition while using the in operator. We will use the example to find only those employees from employee table which have department IDs present in department table. Here you can see there are three department IDs present in the department table, but there are four department IDs present in the employee table 101, 102, 103 and 104. So when we fire the query, we should get results of only these three departments. Now let's write the query. We want to get the result from employee table, so we will write the query as select star from employee based on what condition that the department IDs are present in department table. So there are three department IDs present in department table 101, 102 and 103. So we can write it as where department ID in 101, 102 and 103. But this query makes the result very static. Even if we add more department IDs to the department table, this will be giving us the results for only these three department IDs. So rather than using department IDs over here, we will use a subquery. So this query will give you all the department IDs from the department table. Right now it will be giving you only three department IDs. But if we add more department IDs, then it will give us more. So now if we fire this whole query, this will give us the result for all those employees from employee table which have department IDs present in department table. This was a very basic example of how to use a subquery and when and why to use it. Also remember that while firing a query with a subquery, firstly the inner query or the subquery will execute and then the outer query or the main query will execute. Before jumping next, take a note that a subquery can be giving us a result in the form of multiple columns, single column, or a single value in single column. Like in this example, we had a single column result. If we had more columns as result, it would have given us an error, as we are comparing multiple column result with a single column result which is incompatible. If I put department name also over here department ID is being compared with two column result over here, and that would be incompatible. Let's execute this query and see what happens. So this gives us an error that only one expression can be specified in the select list. Let's revert back to the previous query. So while using a subquery, we have to make the decision that what should be the output of the query and how it can be used. Now if I use the same subquery with equal to operator, it will still give me an error, as the equal to operator needs a single value to be compared with, but the subquery is giving us all the department IDs from the table department, so it will be incompatible. Let's fire this query and see. The query execution failed with the result that subquery returned more than one value. If I add the condition over here where department name is equal to marketing, we will get only a single value result because there is only one department ID with the department name as marketing and department ID is 102. Now let's execute this query. So this is giving us the result for all those employees where department ID is equal to 102 because the department ID 102 corresponds to the department name marketing. Now let's use the subquery with the exist operator. Now what does an exist operator do? It gives us the result of the main query only if the exist condition is true. Exists operator is typically used with the subquery. If the result of the subquery gives us some output, only then the outer query will be executed, else not. Let's try. The syntax of using the exist operator is passing the keyword exists and then in the parentheses passing the subquery. Let's execute this query. Because the subquery condition was true, it gave us some result. Only then the outer query was fired, else it would not have fired. If you see the result of the outer query is not filtered over here, it giving us the whole result. It just checks the condition. If it provides us something, then the whole query is executed. Now let's pass the department name as finance. So there is no department with the department name as finance in the department table. So this will be giving us no result as an output. So the outer query should not run. Let's fire this query. This gave us no output because the inner query gave us no output. So the outer query gives us no output as well. This was the basic functioning of the exists operator, which checks if the inner query is giving us some output or not. Now let's add the condition in the subquery where we compare the columns of employee table to the columns of department table. Like where employee.department ID is equal to department.department ID. You see, to use a column from the outer query in the subquery, we specify the column names like this. So I'm using the column name department ID from the table employee, so I specify it as employee.department ID. And to specify the column of department table, I specify it as department.department ID. I can also use the aliasing of the tables employee as E, department as D, and then use the aliased table names in the where condition. Let's fire this query. In such a condition, along with giving us the result, it also filters it. Here we have only three department IDs 101, 102, and 103 in table department. So the result is for only those three department IDs. The result does not include the department ID 104, which is there in the employee table but not in the department table. So this way we can apply the filters in the exists condition as well. Let's try the not exist condition over here. What does it give? This is giving us the department ID 104 because that was not existing in the table department. So the exist checks for the true condition and the not exist checks for the false condition. I hope this explains the functioning of the exist and not exist conditions and also the usage of subqueries in the where condition. We use the in operator, equal to operator, exists operator, and not exists operator with the subqueries. But if the basic concept of subqueries is clear, then we can use them in multiple other operators as well. Like we use the subqueries in where condition to filter the records, we can use them in having condition as well. Now next, let's try using the subqueries in the from clause. I will open a new query. Let's fire a very simple example. Select star from, and then rather than passing a table name, we pass a subquery. Select star from employee. I'm using this simple example to explain the syntax of using the subquery in the from clause. That is, after the from keyword, use the subquery in the parentheses and also to alias the subquery. If we don't alias, it will give us an error. If I remove this aliasing, it would give us an error. It won't execute. So it is giving us that incorrect syntax. So we have to give an alias over here. If we fire this query, this will execute, but will give us the same result as select star from employee, as there are no filter conditions or nothing else in the subquery. This was a very simple subquery, but the subquery can consist of some complex operations and group bys as well. Let's fire another query to get the total employees in the department with maximum employees. If we fire the query select department ID, count of employee ID aliased as employee count from the table employee and grouping by department ID, this will give us the count of employees in each department. Now to get the maximum employee count out of this, I will use this query as a subquery, alias it as E, and then select max of the column employee count aliased as max employee count from this subquery. Let's fire this query. So this is giving us the max employee count as 9, and that's what we wanted. We wanted to get the total employees in department with the maximum employees. We can fire even more complex subqueries over here and retrieve our results. I hope with this it should be clear to you that how we can use subqueries in the from clause. Similarly, we can use the subqueries in the join tables as well. Now let's see how we can use subqueries in the select clause. This is very simple. Let's fire a query and understand. I'll open a new query. So select star from employee. This will be giving me all the employee details. Along with all these details, I also want to get the department name. To get the department name, I can pass a subquery over here. Select department name from department, and this will give me the result. But over here, we are not passing any condition, so this will fail. because it does not know which department name to be displayed in which record. So we will have to pass a condition over here where e dot department id is equal to e dot department id. So only when the department ids will match, we'll know what department name to be displayed. Now let's fire this condition. Okay, so we get the department ids and department names over here. So department ID 101 is sales, 103 is IT, again 101 sales and marketing. So department ID 104 had no value in the table department, so it gave us null. This is how we use subqueries in the select clause. In real life, we rarely use subqueries in the select clause. We rather join two tables and retrieve the columns. One last thing to remember here in the subqueries is that we cannot pass order by clause in the subqueries, else it will give an error. With this, I hope it should be clear to you what are the subqueries and how can we use them in where clause, from clause, select clause, or even having clause. We cannot use the subqueries in group by or in an order by clause. And that was the end of this video. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It keeps us motivated to create more such content for you. Please provide your feedback, suggestions, and also mention if you want any special topics to be covered in the comment section below. You can also go through my other SQL tutorials. The link to them is there in the description below. See you next time.